All right, here's a little bit of dispute for the Bible to show you that it's actually two lessons in one: a math lesson and a reality check. All right, I'm gonna talk about Noah's Ark, and I'm gonna show you that the Jews don't really know how to tell time back in these days. They only had 10 months. They only had 10 months. I'm gonna show you. This is about Noah's Ark. Check it out. The Lord said, The Lord then said to Noah, go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep the various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now, I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. Noah did all of that as the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came onto the earth. So he's 600 years old. And Noah and his wife and sons, his wife and his Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of unclean animals, pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds, and of all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark, as God had commanded Noah. And after 7 days, the flood waters came on the earth. And Noah's in the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month. So that's 17 days. That's 47 days. If each month is 30 days. That's about 47 days. So that's 47 days. The 17th day of the second month, on that day, all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of heaven were opened, and rain fell on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. So you got 47 days plus 40 days. Okay. So now you got that's 87 days. That's 3 months. Yeah, that's 3 months total. No, that's hold on. 40 the second month, that's 30 days plus 7 is 47 days plus another 40 days. That's 3 months. That's about 90 days. On that day, that very day, Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of their 3 sons, entered the ark, and they had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that moved along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, everything with wings, pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. The Lord shut him in. Okay. So for 40 days, the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark as high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth. The ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 15 cubits. Every living thing that moved on land perished: birds, livestock, wild animals, and all the creatures that swarm the earth, and all of mankind. What? He said it was Noah and all. Oh, everything perished. Yeah, all mankind perished. Everything on dry land that had breath in his life in his nostrils died. This dude watched the whole world die, and he was perfectly okay with it. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out: people and animals and creatures that moved along the ground, and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with the ark, and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. Okay, so you had 47 days into the year plus 150 days. That's 197 days. Okay. Then it says, but God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and the livestock that were with him in the ark and sent the wind over the earth, and the waters receded. Now the springs of the deep and the floodgates of the heavens had been closed, and the rain had stopped falling from the sky. The water receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of the 150 days, the water had gone down. On the 17th day of the seventh month, so let's see, 157 days, 150 days total. That would be 150 divided by 3. That would only be 5 months, plus the 2 months before. So that's about the seventh month. Yeah, about the 17th day of the seventh month. The ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters continued to recede until the 10th month. And on the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains became visible. After 40 days, Noah opened the window he had made in the ark and sent out a raven, and it kept flying back and forth until the water had dried up. And then he sent out a dove to see if the water had receded from the surface of the ground. And the dove could find nowhere to perch because there was water all over the surface of the earth. So it returned to Noah in the ark. He reached out his hand and took the dove in and brought it back to himself in the ark. He waited another seven more days and again sent out the bird. It came back. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there was in his beak was freshly plucked olive leaf. Then Noah knew that the water had receded from the earth. He waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again, but this time it did not return. So by the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water had dried up on the earth. Noah had then removed the covering from the ark and saw the surface of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the second month, the earth was completely dry. Okay, so you got you had 150 days. 150 days. You had 150 days plus 147. That's 197 days plus another 40 days. Let me get this straight. Started out 47 days into the year plus 150 days plus another 40 days plus 14 days. So you had 251 days total. And then by the second year, that's 10 months. And then it says right here, on the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were visible. First day of the 10th month, that's about what, October 1st. It's visible. And 40 days later, that's let's see. Let me see this again. So we got 10 months times 300 minus 30. So now you're talking into the new year. So let's see, 10 months. 10 months is 190 days. 30 days a month. The beginning of the 10th month is 90 days plus another 40 days. Gives you 230 days. Oh, let's see, hold on. 30 days times 9 is 270 days plus another 40 days. It's 310 days. So about a year plus another 14 days. 324 days minus 60 days. So at 264 days, you are at 10 months. So another 60 days, basically, he waited for the waters to recede. But here's the thing. After 60 days, it says, what is that? After 60 days, the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year. So, on New Year's Eve, the water had dried up on the earth. Noah then removed the covering from the ark and saw the surface of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the second month, the earth was completely dry. So by the time they left, it was the second month of the new year. But they only had 10 months. They just counted. Let's see. 9 months times 30 is 270 days. Plus another 40 days for it to dry up. So that's 310 days plus 14 days is 324 days. But you had 30 days, 27th day of the second month. So you had 27th day. So basically another minus 27 days of the second month. You had 260 days in a year, according to Noah. So if you take 260 years, Noah was 600 years old, 601 years old. And you do it in our time, 365 time divided by 12, he was 36 years old. But they thought he was 600 years old. And that's my point. The Jews were stupid. They were old, archaic people that didn't know nothing. They want you to believe he had sons uh, that he lived 600 years. You know, that he had three sons. You know, three sons with wives. Now, what kind of weird family is this? You know what I'm saying? You got a 36-year-old dad with three sons and they all got wives. How old was his sons? 6? You know what I'm saying? Like, shit is stupid. The Bible does not make sense. It says right there, he only had 10 months. Where is it at? Right? Where is it at? On the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were visible. For 40 days, 40 days later, he opened the door, the windows, and it was still wet. 14 days later, it was already the end of the year. So after 200, 10 months and 40 days later, it's the new year. 40 days is what? A month and a week, a month and a week and a half, plus 14 days. It's 11 months. But they have 29 days. 29 plus 40 plus 14, about 315 days a year. So times 601 divided by 365 divided by 12 is 43. It depends on how you calculate. It depends. He wasn't no 600 years old though. That's my point, man. The Bible is for fools, man. And they'll, your family, if you believe what I believe, or if you do the calculations and you share with your family, they're gonna call you a devil and all kinds of evil stuff. And we got black people that think they was born sinning. They think it was. They tell you in church you was born in sin. How am I sinning for being born? That's supposed to be. They'll bless your child at the same time, but when he's old enough to be an adult or to make decisions on his own, they say he's born in sin. But when he's a baby and can't talk and can't comprehend his environment, they'll tell his parents that the child was born in sin. Well, when he's a baby, they'll say he's a blessing. But when he's 18, they'll say you were born in sin. How you were sinning for being born? That's part of life. You know what I'm saying? The Egyptians believe if you live a good life, you live a good afterlife. The only requiem for heaven is living a good life, being a good person. But in America, you can't live a good life if America turns on you. They distort everything about you and they destroy everything about you. So you're a constantly tormented person and in constant turmoil. And that's not what I'm about. So I want to bring peace everywhere I go. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, if everybody thought like me, everybody would go outside in the morning and the grass would be greener just because, our kind was outside, And I guess there's so many people on earth, you mixing the races is just mixing the races. Nobody, once you get that feeling, say you ain't gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? You ain't, you fall in love with a Mexican or a white chick or a Hispanic chick or a Asian chick. You're not gonna fucking stop just because they're not your bloodline. People created bloodlines. Sex created bloodlines. But in reality, we have to deal with people's attitudes. The racism is a part of people's attitude, and that's why you have the blacks over here, the whites over here, Hispanics over there, Asians over there. But what you believe is called indoctrination. What you've been taught is called indoctrination, and what you know is what's in your heart. And a lot of people ain't nowhere as evil as they put on to be. They just indoctrinated.